Today in the test kitchen, we're gonna make chili Colorado. This recipe is really all about the beef and the chilies. So we're gonna get right into the chili aspect. Here I've got some ancho chilies, guajillo, and pasilla. You can also use New Mexico chilies or any other chili that's more mild to medium, nothing too spicy. So I'm gonna get right into tearing these up because this is takes a little bit of time, but it's really worth the effort. So these peppers, they're a dried pepper. So to really get the full flavor of a chili, it's nice to have this kind of dried pepper because it does intensify. And as you see here with these guys, they're pretty pliable. They're not hard and like very crisp and brittle. So I got an example of one that's a little too dried. Kind of sounds like a maraca. That means it's a little over dried. One thing that I really like about using these dried chilies is the aromas and the color you get out of this. The reason these are still kind of pliable is they've got some oils in them. And those oils not only give heat, but give flavor. So by toasting a little bit, you'll wake up those oils a little bit. The chili sauce is really what makes this chili Colorado. It's not really about the state of Colorado. It kind of comes from the term colored red because this is a red chili sauce. And as this stuff cooks down, the flavors kind of intensify, the color intensifies, and it becomes this really nice like mahogany reddish hue. And so I'm setting this to like medium high because right here I just want to get these toasting. I'm not trying to cook them too much, but just get a little toast on them. That way, wake them up a little bit. And you don't want to burn them either. They will burn kind of quickly if you're not careful. So I just want to kind of move them around a little bit. Like I can already smell them. It's kind of a spicy smell, but it's not hot. You just get that aroma. And I'm starting to just see a wisp of smoke. They're done. So over this, I'm going to go in with 2 cups of beef stock. So now that this is just kind of getting to a simmer, we'll just put a lid on it after we get a nice little simmer going. And then honestly, I'll just take that right off the heat and we'll save that for later. It takes a little while for those to get tender, to rehydrate, to really get ready to be put in the blender so that they can become nice and smooth. Now we'll move on to the beef. So here I have, this is some beef chuck. This is actually shoulder. You have the marbling that chuck tends to have, which is beautiful on this piece, but it's not like a chuck roast, which tends to be, it's a little harder for most people to cut up. So I just kind of take the roast, and we're going for like 1-inch cubes on this. So I'll take the roast, cut it into like a few steaks before I start cubing. It makes your life a lot easier than working with a big piece. Now we'll get that, cut it in some strips, and then we'll cut it against there, and we'll get our pieces. And this is a braised dish, so it'll all get nice and tender, but by having it in the smaller pieces, it makes it cook a little quicker. It's really nice and even. I really love using this chuck shoulder. There's no beans in this recipe. There's no ground beef in this recipe. This is a chili Colorado. This is a stew. Think of it that way. You can use, any slow cooking cut will work. I just picked out my favorite cut for this recipe. And I'm kind of cutting it into slightly smaller pieces than stew meat typically is because I want to be able to put this in a taco because I love tacos. So I'm going to get this searing over a pretty high heat because we want to get a nice brown on this. And the way to get this nice and brown is going to be high heat. You're not going to get that off of a medium heat or a low heat. That's where you develop a lot of flavor. That's where a lot of this is on 2 things, right? It's on the chilies and it's on the beef. You're going to get beef flavor out of browning, and you're going to get the chili flavor out of the toasting, the simmering, the pureeing. So I think these are 2 of the most important steps. So I'm going to use some salt and a little bit of pepper. Just get this seasoned while I got my oil heating up. We're going to be working in batches. The important thing with working in batches is the heat is not going to, it's going to be even. When you add too much meat to the pan, immediately, the pan drops in temperature. So when it drops in temperature, what happens? The meat doesn't sear fully, it starts to boil. It doesn't really get the browning that you want. So already, because I got on such a high heat, you can see some of that browning going on. There's more flavor in those little brown bits around the edge of the meat than there is in that whole piece of beef. So now that we've started to develop brown on these guys, we're gonna get these off and we're gonna go in with our next round of beef here. You know, you're seeing that actual browning. It's not gray, it's not steamed, it's not boiled, it's seared. So searing, important. This being a well marbled but kind of lean at the same time. It's marbled, but it doesn't have a lot of exterior fat. That means that fat's not rendering, and so you're not getting a bunch of that rendered fat in your pan, which means you may need to add a touch more oil just to help that sear, facilitate that sear. All right, so now we'll go off with this, and I'll get my other aromatics going. Now you want to keep that heat a little bit lower than it was before because you're going to be sauteing some vegetables. So I'm going to kind of put this at more of like a medium high because the pan's pretty hot. So we got the onions and garlic. And then here I'm going to add some dried oregano, some dried cumin. And then I'm just going to saute this briefly. Basically, I'm just trying to sweat out some of that flavor from the onion, trying to coax out some of those juices so that when it's braising, some of that onion liquid is already kind of in the pan. I'm not really trying to brown the onions, just soften them a little bit. And so I'm going to add in the rest of this beef stock. And there's two important parts to this step. One, by adding this beef stock, you're going to help bring up that fond that we created on the bottom of the pan. And two great things about bringing up that fond. One great thing is it tastes awesome. It really improves the depth and the flavor of your dish. The second thing is you've already done half the work cleaning your pan. Is you want to bring this stock to a simmer. If the stock was to go into that crock pot cold, along with like room temperature beef, it's going to take that much longer to come up to temp. Like it could take an hour to really come up to temp because a crock pot is a gentle heat. All right, so we're going to get the beef right into the crock pot along with everything that's in that pan. Make sure all those juices go in. Okay, then we'll get in with all this here. So you got a lot of that fond that came up, all those onions, garlic, spices. So I'm going to set this guy up. Now we can already get it warming because it's not going to overcook in the time that we're going to mess with these chilies. So now, when we get these in, they're going to blend up a lot easier. So since we're doing this recipe, it's all about beef and chilies. Why not use beef stock to rehydrate the chilies in to, again, just bump up that beefy flavor. So we'll get this guy going. Got on low, we'll kick it to high. And that's all it takes. Get right on in here with this one, right? Look at that. It's like a picante milkshake. Now we'll get this guy into here, right? So now we'll stir all that puree in. We just want to kind of evenly disperse it, mix it all together. And then we will just leave it alone and let it simmer for about an hour. Then we'll pull the lid off because what we want to do is let that evaporate a little bit, let it reduce. But you want that hour covered just to make sure that everything gets nice and cooked, and then the reduction will happen after that. So this has been cooking for 2 hours now. It's nicely reduced, but you're really you can smell the chilies. You can smell that it's really cooked all together and got a nice texture to it. So, you know, Michael was jumping in here earlier and trying to try a piece of just meat that had salt and pepper and seared off. He didn't even get to try the flavor of all this. So I'm gonna get him in here. I'll try it. Yeah, so you need to try it now that it's actually well flavored and slow cooked. So I do have some tortillas that I just warmed up here. So you can. You're gonna have one too, aren't you? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Why don't you here? Why don't you go ahead right there? Okay. Yeah. I don't want to spill. How much liquid? How much? Just whatever you feel like, huh? Yeah. What do you put on your taco? So I mean, beyond the meat and the delicious. I like to eat it just as is. I mean, these look delicious, brother. All right. Taco cheers. Taco cheers. All right. Thank you, Gavin. Appreciate it. No problem. I'm going to take this to town off of the camera. All right, there you have it. Some really nice chili Colorado. So if you like this video, remember to like, comment, and share on social media. And join us next time as we're going to make cowboy skillet pie here in the test kitchen.